Good afternoon. Welcome back to Hickory Concepts YouTube channel. What I'm doing today is I have been wanting to get me a new track saw, and I really didn't want to spend the money on the big unit that's out there right now, so I thought I'm going to go a little bit with a different strategy. Thought I would try this one out first. This comes from Menards. This is their MasterForce model. A lot of their tools have been named MasterForce, go under that brand. Menards has a great return policy, so I thought, well, I'll try it out, see if it works. If everything works right, it cuts straight, it's solid, I keep it. If it's faulty, I'll take it back. And like I said, Menards does a really good job of if something is broke or does not meet expectations, they will allow you to bring it back. And I'll bring it back in a very reasonable time frame. I won't wait, I won't buy it in the spring and return it in the fall like I've heard of some people doing. But wanted to try this unit out and see how it's gonna work. I also went with a little bit different saw blade. It does come with two saw blades, stock saw blades. Wanted to try something a little bit different, so I went with the CMT. CMT makes some good blades. They make some good router bits, and wanted to add this to the collection as well. So let's open this up and get started. So it comes with two nice bags, one for the saw and one for the tracks. Tracks are in here. We've got a little screw that's come out, so okay, found that. Not a big deal, not a big deal as long as we have it. So one saw blade is already included on the saw, and then the other saw blade in the package, 40 tooth. But I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade to the CMT 30. Because we're gonna press in the release and move it down where the bolt is in the little window here. Then there's a small button right behind, I'll point it out right here. This is going to, we're going to press it down. It is going to lock. We're going to find the lock on the blade itself. So let's bring that down again. Find the lock on the blade. All right, there we go. And we're going to take the Allen wrench, and I'm cheating because I've already loosened this up. We're going to remove the bolt. Take the saw out. And that was a 24 tooth saw blade. I always like to go with a finer saw blade when I'm going to be using, not using on finished goods. And this would almost be easier if I had a third hand. One of the things I like about the CMT blades is the bright orange. The blade is always the danger part, and when something's bright orange, it's a little bit easier to see it and makes things a little bit nicer there. All right, good and tight. We'll set the blade off to the side for now. The track's pretty much simple, like some of the tracks out there. Roll wrench, we're padding right here, we're padding the hard cluster. There's Ginge. There's room. There's 2 walls. Running around the gear, so that means my wife will be right on because she lives in the house. And she doesn't like all the salt either. So the track went together pretty well. One thing I did notice when I was tightening up the screws, I was thinking to myself, do not over tighten. And with those little bitty Allen screws, they are starting to push on that aluminum a little bit, and I'm seeing where that screw is at from the top side, so that's not a good thing. So just keep in mind, do not over tighten these the small Allen bolts. Now I've already measured out my my lines where I want this to cut. It does come with some pretty standard clamps. One thing I will have to keep in mind is that you're going to have extra room between the bottom of your piece and this clamp right here. So you're talking an extra probably 4 or 5 inches of elevation. Normally when I elevate a board to cut through it, I use the Rockler bench cookies, but in this case it is not going to work. I'm hanging one side off the edge of the table, and I'll probably have to do the same thing with this edge and kind of turn it and cut it sideways. Overall, here's my thoughts. First, the packaging was pretty good. I could only get this saw if I ordered it online, which is not a bad thing. But if you do need it, it is going to take a couple extra days. Easy to put together, easy to change the saw blade. So everything so far I think went really well. It's going to be very hard to see in this video, but on the when I did tighten up the screws, it did leave a couple marks here. So so that's one thing to keep in mind. Everything was very tight. It did not wiggle around. It did not move around on me. I did hear that about another company that's out there that has a lower cost track saw. One thing you will notice on your first cut, it's going to be a little bit hard to see there, but there is some black in there with the sawdust, and basically that is where your saw is hitting this guard right here. Not a big deal, it just barely hits it. That carbide blade just hits it as it goes through. As far as the saw itself, it does come with a dust unit for a hose connector. I believe that this will fit the high dollar track saw out there, that hose. So keep that in mind. I have a Rockler connector that I will try on that to see if it works. I believe it's going to, so I think that's good. The depth gauge, it's made out of a hard plastic. It did work well, but it just doesn't feel real solid to me. So one thing to think about right there. And then this screw, this clamp screw back here, again, hard plastic, not a real good feel to it. But everything else, like I said, feels very solid. Not a lot of play in anything. So as far as what you're getting for the price, I think it's a good program. I think it's a good product. Clamps, not sure if I'm a big fan of the clamps yet. I'm gonna have to do some exploring and thinking about that a little bit more. The other thing that I saw in the packaging was it did come with 2 extra brushes. That's kind of a good thing and a bad thing for me. One, when it comes with extra brushes, that means it's not brushless. And as far as having those extra brushes, if you're like me, you'll probably use them, lose them, or misplace them before you need them. It's very rare that I am replacing brushes on a saw. Normally I've tore something up before, a couple years down the road, a few years down the road before I need them. But I would like to see this unit with a brushless motor on it. So that's about it. If you try this unit out, let me know what you think. Again, I did buy it at Menards. Another good thing about Menards going on right now is they do have their 11% rebate. I am a big proponent of their 11% rebate. They do get it turned around pretty quickly. A few weeks to a month later, I do get my rebate back. And then the other good thing that I saw in the Menards store the other day is plywood. They had some birch plywood in there, and that was a lot less than the birch and oak plywood that I was buying a few weeks ago. So I've actually got a project that I needed a 1/2 inch plywood for, and I actually am going to upgrade it to 3/4 inch birch, make it a little bit stronger, but I'm getting it at about $20 less per 4x8 sheet. So if you liked the video, if it came in useful, let me know. Would love to hear back from you. Also would love to know if you did try this unit out. And lastly, please subscribe. Would love to see you subscribe to our videos. Thanks a lot.